I am a figurative painter, and I spent years and years studying anatomy. I studied anatomy at the Art Students League in New York, and I've done all sorts of figurative painting classes. So the human body it juices me. There's nothing that has that kind of expression. It's a very difficult subject to paint, especially to really capture emotion. That has been the sort of one of the more crowning achievements of many years of study, is like learning how to really show that emotion, have people connect with the characters in my paintings. My father was an oil painter. It was more of a hobby for him, and he would work on the weekends, and he actually introduced me to basic drawing materials like pencils and paint. Eventually he showed me how to use oil paints a little bit when I was in high school, and then my art instructor in high school did the rest. My mom is also very creative and very industrious. She does a lot of crafts, a lot of shop. She used to build furniture for us when I was young, so there was definitely plenty of that going on in the household, a lot of creative things going on all the time. Now, I knew probably around 17 or so, I read the book The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, and the characters in that book are so sure that whatever it is their career path. And at that time, that was really when I made a decision. I was thinking about going into sports medicine. That was the other choice, and that was a point where I thought, no, I'm going to be an artist. That's what I'm going to do. I did go and I got an illustration degree at San Jose State, but I was waiting tables through much of my 20s, really, and I ended up, I've worked at Kinko's on Graveyard. I did that for 3 years, and that was, that's something. I would wake up around 4:30 or so in the afternoon as the sun was beginning to go down, and I would get up, I would go for a run, and I would work on my portfolio. At the time, I was still not feeling like I was ready to do fine art as a career, so I was trying to get into LucasArts, and so I would work on my portfolio, my 3D portfolio, and I would do that till about 10 p.m. and then I would head off to work, and I would work until 8 a.m. and just as the sun was coming up and people were heading off to sleep. And I did that for 2-3 years, and then I finally got into LucasArts. I've been living in San Francisco for quite a while, and I see all these cool people around, but how do I meet them? Like, I never seem to really meet people in cafes, and I don't know why I was having this conversation with my chiropractor, but I was. And he said, oh, well, you should get on this list. And it was sort of in the early 2000s, where there are a lot of like urban tribe lists, and so I got on this email list, which was called The Community. And clearly it was in the early days, because you probably couldn't name something The Community now, but it was amazing. It was really amazing, and that was when suddenly like a whole new world was opened up for me at that time. The painting up here is the same idea of this spiritual cyborg, this blending together, this 21st, 22nd century mashup of spirituality and technology, because without the two together, we end up in this very cold place. I've been part of the Burning Man community, a lot of very creative individuals there, since about 2002 or so. That was sort of a big shift for me. Before, I'd lived a pretty conventional life, very just a head down, grimly determined artist, and then I met all these Burning Man folks and got introduced to meditation, self-help, all spirituality, and at that point I had a lot more creative people in my life, and I felt like I was finally, like I had found my people. And so it was a really huge shift also in my art too. I'd already been dabbling with some of the subject matter that I have now, but all of a sudden it was like it just completely fed my art. So all of a sudden my imagery changed completely to the spiritual, to community connection, meditation, ethereal work, and